Everywhere you go now, people are using downlights in their homes, and there's lots of DIYs taking away the old pendant lights in older properties and replacing them with LED downlights. And there's lots of videos around showing you how to drill big holes in your ceiling, get covered with plasterboard dust and install in lights like this. However, not all downlights are equal, and if you get the wrong one in the wrong area, you can end up with quite a big safety risk. So before you do that, or maybe someone's already done it, and it's sitting above your head quietly as you watch this video, there's a few things you need to be aware of to keep yourself, your family, and potentially your neighbours safe. If you're updating your property or fitting out an extension or garden room, before you just go and buy the cheapest downlights and install them, there's a few things you need to know so you don't contravene building regulations or start a fire, or even accelerate a fire that might have started with nothing to do with your installation in the first place. This is important stuff that isn't obvious and definitely isn't pointed out to you when you're in the DIY shop on a Saturday morning buying a pack of these. And as I said, if you're in a property at the moment, are you confident that the downlights above you or in your children's bedroom, or even more importantly, underneath your children's bedroom, are the right ones? Maybe worth having a check and having a look after you've watched this video. So this is my complete guide to downlights, starting with number 5, which is ironically what most people think is the most important thing, that is actually the least important. That is what they do and what they look like. Number 5, all downlights sold now are LED. So if you've got halogen, maybe have a look at changing them, or maybe change the bulbs if you can. Halogen is really hot and it takes a lot more power and therefore a lot more electricity to actually get them going. So you'll save money with LED. I've got 3 different versions here that from the room, if they're installed, all look very similar, but they have their differences. You can get ones that change the bezel and you can put different colours on. You can get ones that are fairly cheap and cheerful, quite light, and you can get ones that are all singing, all dancing. One thing you do need to be aware of is that most these days are what are called integrated. That means that the bulb is actually fixed. If the bulb goes, you can't actually replace it. This is a fixed unit, but you can get those where you can change the bulb, which sounds more sensible, doesn't it? All you do is pop this out and it uses a GU10. But there are pros and cons between the two. Now I am told that the integrated ones where you can't change the bulb last a lot longer, and so far I haven't had a failure on one of those, so maybe they do last a long time. But there is some pros and cons between these that we'll see a little bit later. But as I said earlier, not all downlights are equal, so the cheaper ones like this are not necessarily suitable for lots of areas in your home, but we'll get onto that in a minute. Now the other thing you need to be aware of is colour. When I say colour, I mean colour temperature. So whether you want a warm white or a sort of harsh bright white. Now obviously where you can change the bulb and you're using a GU10 like this, you can put in whatever bulb you want and you can buy the bulb to suit the colour you want. The integrated ones where you can't actually change the bulb normally will have a switch on the back, and some of them will have a warm and a cool switch, and then there's some that are even better. They've got 3 settings: warm, sort of medium, and something cool at the other end. You can also get downlights that angle, so you can point them to like a picture or a painting on the wall, and you can even get PIR ones that obviously come on when you walk into the area. So lots of different types to think about. Let's move on to something a little bit more technical and talk a little bit about wiring. Number 4, and I'm not actually going to talk too much in detail about how to wire up downlights. There's videos out there that will show you how to go from one to another and all the necessary details. But there's a couple of things definitely worth noting. And first of all is when you are wiring up downlights, and you're allowed to under building regulations, as long as you're only extending a circuit rather than putting a new circuit in, although most electricians won't want to tell you that. And obviously you only really want to do this if you know what you're doing, you're confident of your electrical skills. The main thing is just making sure that you're competent to strip the right amount of wire so you've got nothing actually exposed and you know which wire to put where. and you've got no exposed copper, and everything is nice and tight, and everything has got a good connection. So when that's clamped up, you can't see any bare wire at all. And for the majority of the downlights you'll come across, you'll be wiring from one to another until you get to the end of the line. So it's like a daisy chain. So when you're buying downlights, have a look at what connection boxes they've got. They should have 2 of everything, 2 neutral, 2 live and 2 earth, because one cable is going to come in and another cable is going to go out. So if we look at our cheaper version we've got over here, all we've got is an old-fashioned connector block with 2 cables going in, a live and a neutral. So there's not a second set that will daisy chain onto the next one. So there's 2 ways you can work with this. Either you try to get 2 wires in there, which isn't really good practice, or you take a wire out of there and then with a couple of Wagos, these are the ones that just clip in and out, together with a maintenance-free box set up just a few inches away from it, then you've solved that problem. But this all costs additional money and time to wire it all in. So by the time you're doing all of that, you may find it's better to buy a unit that maybe is a little bit more expensive, that does come with proper connectors for all your ins and outs. Right, let me just finish wiring this up and we'll talk about insulation. While you watch me setting up this demonstration of downlights and I have your attention, I'd just like to highlight that I do now have a second channel all about tools, which you can find a link to in the description below. Also, did you know proper DIY Patreon members get to see extended editions of all weekly videos just like this one, where they get extra behind the scenes chat and insight just for the price of a coffee each month. Link is in the description below to sign up. So just before we talk about insulation, and I don't mean insulation as in electrical insulation, I mean insulation as in warmth. I've got my little rig now set up and alive, and just show you the difference in colour on these variable downlights, where you can have it quite cool or medium or quite warm. And that's quite a yellow glow. So number 3, insulation. And the sort of insulation I'm talking about is rock wool, the sort of stuff that we insulate our houses by. And this is obviously in the loft, but quite often it's also in that cavity between the ceiling of the ground floor and the floor of the first floor, if you know what I mean. So it can be anywhere where there's downlights. So what's the problem? We just put downlights in and the insulation sits over the top. Not quite as easy as that. You really need to look at the specification and the details of the lights before you buy them to find out whether they're allowed to have insulation around and touch them, or it needs to be kept away. For instance, these 2 integrated lights, this one, you're not allowed to have insulation around it, and I can feel that it's quite warm at the moment. Whereas this one, you can lightly pack the insulation over it, no problem. It says that in the specification. So if you can't put insulation around it, yet you've got lots of insulation in your loft, what do? Well, there is a system where you can buy covers to keep the insulation away from the downlight, and therefore having a little bit of air so it can breathe and it doesn't heat up too much and cause a fire risk. But these covers cost £5, £6, £7 a piece, which adds quite a lot of money to the cost of each individual light. So you might be better off spending another £2 or £3 on a unit that doesn't need a cover and is quite happy to be surrounded by insulation, rather than going for the cheaper option, which actually will end up costing you more. Also, those covers, for instance, you need to get up into the loft to get underneath the insulation. You can't do it from down below. So all of that aggravation means you're better off buying a unit that actually you can put anywhere and you're not worried about it. Right, the next thing we need to think about is water. Number 2, IP rating. When it comes to using downlights in wet areas like bathrooms, you need to use a unit which has an IP rating of at least IP44. That means it can withstand moderate splashing, which means generally lights like this that take the GU10 bulbs, which are quite open, just don't conform, whereas the integrated fixed type are normally rated at IP65, which means that they can deal with a jet or water, but best to double check this before you buy. And I would always recommend using a qualified electrician to do any electrical work in your bathroom, including the lighting. Now we're on to number one, which is fire rating. Now every building in the country has a fire rating, and the reason for that is to make sure that the building stands up long enough for people to get out in the case of fire. And sometimes it's 30 minutes, it could be 60 minutes, 90 or 2 hours. It's not there to allow the fire brigade to turn up, it's there just to make sure that the structure of the building will stay intact for a period of time to allow everyone out. So the bigger the building, the bigger the fire rating, the longer the fire rating exists, including houses. And one of the things that's important in a house to stop fire spreading is the plasterboard on your ceiling. It's been designed that way, and it stops fire getting into the joists above and collapsing the building too quickly. So as soon as you cut a hole in your ceiling, potentially you're reducing the fire rating, because that's got somewhere that the fire can get through that hole, start working on the joists and actually bring the house down quicker. So you need to make sure whatever you're putting in those holes that you've cut in your ceiling has a fire rating at least as good as the room itself. So if you're looking at the ground floor, say, of a house, potentially you don't want that fire to spread to the first floor and the bedrooms above. So that has a higher fire rating than the first floor, whereas if it goes into the loft, you're not too worried because there's no one up there. So not all downlights have got a fire rating, especially not something like this that's all a bit wibbly wobbly and fire will spread through it really very quickly. Generally, the integrated ones, once again, are more likely to have a fire rating. So you need to check before you put these in like a ground floor, the ceiling of a ground floor, whether they're fire rated. And it's even more important if you're putting them into an HMO or a masonette, which is like a house, but you could have someone completely separate living upstairs. Or maybe you do live upstairs and you need to make sure that the person downstairs actually understands there's a fire rating, because if there is a fire, that's coming through the ceiling quicker if you haven't got fire rated lights. The modern ones actually have an intumescent seal that expands when it gets hot and actually seals the smoke and the fire coming through. So this is really important, and most people don't realise what's in part B of the building regulations when it comes to safety. So after saying all of that, what would I recommend if you're about to go out and buy some downlights? Well, I would recommend that you do get them fire rated. You do get IP66, which is pretty easy and doesn't cost that much more. You make sure that you can cover them with insulation rather than having to have some sort of void around them. And if you get them changeable, so you can have warm, medium or very bright white, then you can make them look however you want them. And at that point, once you've got those 4 things ticked, you can put them wherever you want around the building, so you can't get it wrong. I hope you enjoyed this video and you know a lot more about downlights than you did 15 minutes ago. I will see you next time.